Well, thanks for joining us again. This is Newspaper Review. I am Moses Humphrey, and I have with me in the studio Dele Fanimo, who is a seasoned reporter and public affairs commentator, VOP analyst. Good morning.
Good morning, Moses.
And also with us in the studio is Mr. Ezike Weze Jesus. He's the MD, Meditech Technologies. Good morning to you. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Good to have you join us this morning again on Newspaper Review. Now let's dive into it. Looking at the papers, of course, we've touched on a few of the conversations already. One of them is the fact that FAN has a new board chairman, and also yesterday we touched a bit on the visa restrictions from the US. It seems to be getting worse. A lot more is happening right now, and well, let's just
I
go
think
through it.
the Interior Minister is also engaging the US ambassador on it. Already.
Okay. Well, let's look at a few of the headlines on the cover page of the Guardian newspaper. The window headlines here read: EFCC decries mind-boggling fraud at NNPCL, wants unexplained wealth criminalized. Well, we touched on this earlier in the day. 2027, don't underrate Tinubu. Ribadu warns opposition. UAE bans transit visas, imposes stricter entry rules for Nigerians. This is of major concern if you ask me, because I'm wondering, is it going to get any better? What is the perception of the international community? How are they viewing Nigerians? The US has said single entry. For the US, single entry for non-immigrant visas, and now 3 months. 3 months single entry used to be way better.
Multiple.
Yes, and now the UAE is saying that, look, if you're between the ages of 18 and 45 and you're unaccompanied, which basically means you're not in a group, you'll not be given tourist visas. And if you're above 45, you should have a monthly balance of about $10,000 or the equivalent in Naira for about 6 months, making it difficult, a lot more difficult for Nigerians to get visa. Canada, on the other hand, has increased the proof of fund to 17 million Naira for Nigerians seeking to travel. This is, the question on my mind is our relationship, Nigeria's relationship with foreign countries, is it nose diving?
Moses, I think at the risk of accusing me of not being patriotic, but the optics are there. It's quite unfortunate that we have done a lot of harm than good to Nigeria's image, particularly those who travel. As far back as my second visit
to South Nigeria has
Nigerians, okay. Nigerians.
Oh, sorry. Before you go on, let me read the riders to that headline. It says, UK plans digital e-visa for work. Sounds like a good thing. Student applicants. China expands visa-free travel to 74 countries, leaves out Africa.
You see, let me tell you, as far back as I think 2008 or 2009, I can't remember the exact time. That was my second visit to South Africa. I thought they were giving me preferential treatment when they said Nigerians should move on this side, on that flight. I went for a workshop, a 3-day workshop in that country. And lo and behold, they just marched us to a room. And they kept us waiting for about 30 minutes. So I had to approach the immigration officer. I said, why am I here? I'm already late for the conference. The aircraft touched down around 8 a.m. And the conference, the opening was for 9:30. He said, no. He said, I should call my hotel reservation And I tried bringing out my phone. He said, no. It has to be landline. Said because a lot of people come here, particularly from Nigeria, and they have an arrangement with somebody on the other end that would pretend to be a receptionist at one particular hotel and all that. I was so angry and I had to start creating a scene that, look, I don't want to remain in your country. Take me back with the next available flight. So apparently they now realized that I think about 5 of us came together. You had to separate the 5 of us, begged us, calmed us down, and took us with their own shuttle bus to that hotel. And before I left, I asked a question. I said, why is it that they're even giving us preferential treatment? He said, from the look of, and the fact that they checked my passport, that I've been there once, and I didn't overstay before I left. You know, it was, the first time I went was a 5-day trip. And even the last day, I was already at the airport waiting to go back to my country. So, I said that a lot of Nigerians come in here with spurious documents and all that, and they just disappear into the country and all that. And most of them, when they are caught for criminal activities, they locate them back to being Nigerians. And unfortunately, he also told me that some Ghanaians and other countries, from other countries, are also having Nigerian passports.
No, don't drag Ghanaians into this. Ghanaians will not have Nigerian passport because Ghanaian passport is still more respected abroad.
I understand. I understand where you are coming from.
Don't
I said I understand where you are coming from. But the whole idea is you won't blame some of these countries for taking those hard stands. Nigerians going abroad, they can cook up anything, and when they get there, they don't even have anybody.
I think we should even address the bigger problem: why Nigerians keep running abroad. South Africans don't run abroad like we do in Nigeria.
You know.
Let me raise this joke. Sorry, right. Let me raise this joke. There was a pastor that relocated to South Africa, and his prayer point was anybody that wants to travel should bring his passport. So the pastor, resident pastor there, just refers to him. This is not Nigeria. South Africans don't travel like Nigerians.
They don't travel. They don't travel like that.
So,
and it's not as if it's a lot better, but they have their.
It's about values. It's about values, you know. And somebody who wants to build a house, wants to buy a Ferrari, and he has no means of livelihood. So it's the propensity is to either carry drugs or engage in credit card fraud.
Let's have your thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Nigerians traveling abroad are traveling on survival mode. Okay? And why is that so? Because our system here is terrible. It's not conducive. Currently, even though we can't say we have our middle class the way we used to have it anymore. Okay? So it's a government for the elites. That is what we have right now. Okay? So it's all on survival mode. And when you travel on survival mode, you are going to do anything to succeed.
There was a video.
Crimes.
There was a video I saw one time. The guy who obviously looks like he's 35 or thereabouts was claiming to be 16. He was claiming to be, and then he was seeking asylum, saying that look, his parents died and the in-laws want to kill him. That was why he had to run abroad. But he still got away. He got away because when they kept him, waiting to verify some information, his age and everything, the hotel they kept him, he bailed from there. So it adds to the fact that Nigerians, the world, especially the Western world, have lost trust in Nigeria, in Nigerians and Nigeria. And, interestingly, I was reading up something on X.com the other time, where Nigerians were saying, oh, let's leave Africa. Somebody generalized it and said, look, Africans are running to the Western world. And somebody said, look, Africans are not running to the Western world. Nigerians are. A lot of other African countries like Botswana, they're not bothered. They're not bothered about running because their country serves them well. So the onus now falls on our leaders in Nigeria to do right. And I wonder when that would.
If I were to be a Canadian or American or Briton, I would be miffed by the way Nigerians travel to my country, because the resources here is more than enough.
Of course.
What we have under the ground is more than enough. And then what we have in our brain is more than enough. We should be going out of this country as expatriates, not going through the high sea, not going through dubious means. If we get our acts together and we have good leadership in this country, and it's not even limited to Nigeria alone, in Africa as a whole, what is embedded in Africa is what these people thrive on. And yet they come back to malign us, and then they talk down on us because we don't have the right leadership in Africa.
But don't you think that Nigerians have kind of lost a consciousness of what they actually have right now? Like, there was this time I did this lit paper that I talked about cultural education. Okay? Cultural education has to do with the
value system.
Like you now being the professor, like having an interaction with the native man in the village. If you go to a place like Accuses, okay, you have them. These are people that have this talent of taking out iron from stone, okay, but that knowledge is gradually fading because
there's no transfer of knowledge.
There's no transfer. The consciousness of that is dwindling. We all have our eyesight abroad, okay? But if we now that are educated can go down to those locales and have this intermingling, I think we'll do better. We have everything. We mustn't wait for the government. Okay? We mustn't wait.
Indeed,
although the government has a role to play when it comes to financing, but there must be a part that we as Nigerians, as individuals, play.
You see, this route is the normal way we should go, but unfortunately, I still come back to values. The average man that is a professor wants white-collar job, and so he doesn't see it as a dirty venture. He will not likely go into it, and the patience to really study the environment, study those who understand some of these things, and then translate it into endeavors is not in them, because they feel that no, if you must be rated as an elite, then you must flow with the elite. And so they see them. I recall there was a time one Assistant Controller General of Immigration was retiring. He had about 2 years to retire then. So each time I go to his office, I see lowly people, so-called lowly people, those who sit on the floor and eat and all that. I see him with them. One day, and I asked him, sir, why is it that you're supposed to be having visitors that are also like Controller General, Deputy Controller General, Commissioner of Police and all that? He said, let me tell you, this is the main reason why people like us die 2 years, 5 years after leaving office. Because there is a complete disconnect with our roots when we're in the cities. By the time you go back to that village that you abandoned over 30 years ago, you cannot fit into the system anymore. And you are left alone. You are treated like an outcast. And so you can't go back to that city where you have retired and somebody has taken over your office. Those who visit you during the time you are in office are actually not your friends. They are friends to your job. So at the end of the day, he said these are people that taught him that during rainy season that you can store palm oil. But when it is scarce, you take it up north, you sell, you make profit. That these are people that told him that there are certain planks that if you process very well, and he was looking down at them. Eventually he realized that they had money more than he did at that time. So he had to quickly adjust. But how many people would adjust to that situation? And that brings me to this idea of these professors who doesn't want to have anything to do with the locals. And the locals will not, out of inferiority complex, will not want to come to you. It is you that you need them, that you approach them and engage them so that you can benefit maximally from their knowledge. And that's professing.
Yeah. Indeed. Well, let's look at some more headlines, still from The Guardian. 2 years later, international travel restrictions spark fresh row over absence of ambassadors. All right, still the conversation that we are having. I think The Guardian focuses on it. We are looking at the fact that we don't have ambassadors in some of these countries. So can the president go around and speak to these countries on behalf of Nigeria? Why is it that we still don't have ambassadors? And all of this is playing out. Oh well. Mutual funds rise by 105% to 5.9 trillion naira in H1 on higher demand yields. Jakba, Canada raises minimum proof of funds to 17 million naira per immigrant. I mean, we've talked about it already. Niger attacks claim 13 as 20 bandits die in Kwara. Again, 20 gunmen raid Agwata local council, kill 4. Delegates will decide who gets ADC's presidential ticket, says Atiku's spokesperson. Not the other day, was it on Monday or thereabouts? Customs intercepted a cache of dollars, foreign currencies, coming into Kano. And somebody said the dollars are beginning to arrive for primaries in the ADC. We know the dollar man. Dollar man has said he will run. And we know how he always uses dollars to get his way with the primaries and
that's why I said
delegates and the rest.
That's why I said that anybody from the southern part of the country should be very, very careful about the way they will run after this ADC thing. It's just a vehicle for the North to capture power before their time. And they are waiting for 2027. Look at the preponderance of people that are moving into that party, except a trickle of Southerners. After Aregbesola will be...
So you are joining those that are saying it will not favor Obi?
I am joining them.
You are?
Yes.
You think so too?
I don't think it will favor him. I've said that countless times. It's one.
They can't favor him.
It's one.
They just want to use his integrity mantra to stabilize that party.
They are going to stain him so much that he will not have much relevance in the near future.
Thank God he was not here when I was saying
he's
this.
Also desperate.
Right now, he's desperate. I would say so. And desperation, you need that level of desperation to win. Okay? So that desperation is not actually a bad thing right now. Okay. You need it to win.
Okay.
But the last election, it was coming off like Tinubu was more desperate. Okay? The desperate
so you
man
have to
won.
be desperate.
You have to be desperate.
In Nigeria, you have to be desperate to win
and
elections.
You have to understand that it's not a free and fair thing.
A comedian said, to win elections in Nigeria, deface the entire country with your billboard, with your posters. Deface. Look for, take your name and make it into an acronym. Take your name and make it into an acronym like
one of the
Daily Now.
48 laws of power.
Dedicated.
One of the 48 laws of power is that either for good or for bad, make sure you put yourself in the consciousness and reckoning of the people. And that was what Tinubu did at the last election. For bad reasons, everybody was talking about Tinubu, saying he was soiling his day pass, he was doing this, he was torturing, he was doing that. So everybody was debating him. And so it became the dominant factor in election.
No, I disagree a little. Okay. The person that actually did that was Obi. Obi?
No, but there were there's a pattern. There's a pattern in our elections. The person they seem to mock.
Watch Obasanjo compare it to the campaign of Tinubu.
The person they seem to mock the most.
Social media president. They called him the social media president.
Oh.
Obi.
No, you don't understand what I'm saying. those they denigrated more was Tinubu, not Obi.
Facts.
And everybody was on the lookout. Obi got to a point that everybody had accepted that, yes, this man is saying something reasonable.
Yeah.
But everybody's attention, more of the people's attention was on Tinubu because they wanted to see another thing that will come up from him that would make them mock him. And his handlers were also pushing all those narratives. So it became something that was just like when somebody wants to make mockery of you, every day he wakes up and he will be eager to listen to whatever you have done wrong. And through that, Tinubu was in the reckoning of Nigerians during that election. But as soon as the election was over, after he won, everything changed. He no longer soils his day pass. Yeah. He no longer stutter. Yeah. Now he could speak fluently. He could speak extempore. So you should know that it was the pattern. And if you read For the Loss of Power, it's part of it.
Yeah.
All right, then let's check out a few other headlines. Let's see what the Punch has for us. The Punch says, diplomatic tensions. FG pushes back as US, UAE tighten visa rules. Ministry begins high-stakes negotiation as officials fault U.S. over reciprocity claim. U.S. meeting. African leaders seek Trump's support to develop resources. IMF pledges support for FIRS on tax reforms. LG poll. Police restrict movement in Lagos. Deploy squad. Tinubu government seeking excuse to clamp down on coalition. ADC. Now let's talk about Lagos elections. What are your thoughts on the elections? Basically, I was hoping to get your thoughts during the morning show, but you bailed on me.
Local government election is in Nigeria.
20 LGs, 37 LCDAs.
Local government.
The fact elections. That some parties are claiming to be disenfranchised.
Let me
Some
tell
parties
you.
are saying they don't seem to, their names are not appearing on the paper.
It will not appear.
Why would it?
It will not appear. Local government elections have been following the same pattern in the last 10, 15 years. And so this one is not going to be different. Either crook or hook, APC will sweep the local government polls. It is not peculiar to Lagos. It is everywhere. No governor will sit back and allow opposition to take the lead in this local government election.
Let me ask a question. Do you think the people know the essence of local government elections?
And besides, what is local government today in Nigeria? Appendage of the state. The local government chairman does not have access to the funds released from Abuja. He cannot determine what he wants to do in his local government. He doesn't have a say in the local government. So it's like, why would Fubara, that just came into government, and he knew that PDP was not too comfortable for him to send his team of local government chairmen, and he raised PPA from its slumber. Within 3 weeks, they cleared the polls. So that's the pattern. The only exception was the gift to the Senate president in Akwa Ibom. 7,000 versus less than 1,000.
6,000 versus, I think, 500.
And they said, we cannot afford to disgrace our Oga.
Oh my.
And nobody has challenged that decision up to today. And then you now blame politicians for doing what they are doing, riding roughshod on Nigerians. When in actual fact, we allowed them, we paved the way for them to ride roughshod on us. How can somebody win an election that was declared over 6,000 to less than 1,000, and then suddenly the result was upturned, and then the only plausible excuse is we can't afford to disgrace our Oga in this local government.
Let's dash him. His local government.
And then the person that won that election kept quiet. Lawan lost senatorial election, and he bought his way, settling the man that won. And then tomorrow, you now tell me that this politician will not be brazen in doing whatever they want to do. For me, I don't believe in these local government elections, since it has been, as a matter of fact, is it not even a leap from what we used to have? Before now, National Administrator, caretaker committee. And who is that caretaker committee chairman that will challenge the governor who graciously in quotes, put him there, even when he doesn't merit it? Who is that local government chairman? The only local government chairman that challenged a governor was Taye Fashuba of Ado local government in Ekiti State, who challenged Fayose. He said, Mr. Governor, I cannot be signing 100 million naira and you are giving me 20 million. This is my signature. If anything happens, I will be held responsible. And he refused to sign. And it became a big nobody. No local government chairman supported that man. And do you know what happened to him later? They wanted to take him out. Unfortunately, he had an identical twin brother.
And they took out the brother.
They took out the brother.
That's politics in Nigeria.
That's politics in Nigeria. My colleague, Wale Adedayo, who was chairman in Ijebu East, also attempted to fight this, and he was bloodied and sent out. He was sent packing. So, local government election is just like, in fact, I would have loved them to just announce results so that they won't keep people at home. Because it's not going to call, the pattern will not change.
Yeah, it won't change anything.
It won't change.
It won't. I know one of the core functions of this local government is to make sure that these basic amenities get to the people.
Because they are the nearest.
Till date, we still make our own water. If I don't have borehole in my house, I don't have water.
It's become a pattern.
You know,
and we
think it's normal.
You drain your bowl, you provide security.
You know, so what's the local government doing for me? You know, till date, people that don't have borehole, that can't afford it, still buy from Merowa people, the Aboki.
Yeah.
You know, and they say this is a mega city. You know, what mega city operates that way?
Oh well, let's look at a few more headlines here. We do have from the Nigerian Tribune. There are very interesting headlines on the cover page of Nigerian Tribune. The bold headline: Buhari's popularity. I'd like us to speak to this a bit. Buhari's popularity won 12.5 million votes for APC in 2015. Ex-SGF says ACN, CPC, other major parties brought 3 million votes. Buhari's own party gave him 12.5 million votes. So regardless of the other parties that joined the merger, he will still have won. That's basically what this is saying. It says Buhari administration stood on pillars of integrity. Tinubu. Okay. What say ye?
We are seeing it.
Is this a pointer to the fact that those
people will probably win without needing the...
No. That's not a...
This
statement is coming from ex-SGF, Boss Mustafa. But is this a pointer to the fact that there are aggrieved members, former affiliates to Buhari who are within the APC, who are saying that, look, we are done, we are tired. We don't need APC to, we don't need APC anymore. We want to pull out, but they're just being reluctant to do so. Is this a pointer that the APC is even divided?
The script written in 2013. 2014.
Okay.
That brought Buhari is the same script that they are bringing again in 2027.
Who's bringing it? The APC?
No, this
coalition.
Not even coalition. The Northerners.
Okay.
Let's call it the way it is. These people, they want power. When in 2014, I was all over the place. And while the mantra that was resonating in the South here was
Say Baba.
change, say Baba.
Say Baba.
But what was resonating in the North is give us power. We want power back. It's the same. I watched a video of Atiku Abubakar yesterday, where I was saying that he is the most qualified person to be next president of Nigeria, having had links across the geopolitical zone. And what that link meant was that
He has
married wives from everywhere.
I wonder how that makes you.
And that the North, he specifically said it. He said the North does not want anybody other than a Northerner. And that is eminently qualified as the Northerner. The way Tinubu went to Abeokuta to declare Emilokan.
Is what he just did as well.
Now, this one has just done that again. You see, you need to follow the pattern of these things, the way they evolve. You will know that it's the same pattern. Now, they are saying, if specifically said, we don't want Yoruba or Igbo, that it must be the North.
Not even Muslim.
Nothing like that, just the North.
Especially how those sides.
And then when they tell you about the North, we read in history, Hausa Bokwa, Hausa Banza. The Banzas are the middle belters. So they don't reckon with them except when they want to use them for head count or when they want to use them for votes. So the hardcore Northerners are the Sokoto, Maiduguri, Adamawa, and the rest of them. And this is the song that they want power to return to them. And to justify that, they are saying by 2027, out of 28 uninterrupted years of politics, that the South had enjoyed 18 and they have only enjoyed 10. So taking it off from 2027, they want to enjoy 8 uninterrupted reign so that it will be even. And what makes you think that after the 8 years of whoever is the Northerner will say, okay, now that we have even discussed, it's now 18 by 2035. Now, we can now start on a clean slate. So anybody can come and say he wants to be president. And obviously, they would have denigrated the South to the point that they would also bring somebody to contest and win another election. That is the permutation. So if anybody, most of the time when I say some of these things here, it looks like a fairy tale. But it will happen. Last week, when we were talking here, I said, Atiku will run. And that let nobody delude himself that Atiku will step down for anybody. And that they need hatchet men like El-Rufai to propel the North because of his sympathy to the Fulani stock. And Atiku is also a Fulani. So there is no way that ticket of ADC, you see that ADC will likely implode mid-next year. Because Atiku will come so strong that other known gladiators now will be tottering under his jackboot. And if they now know that this man is not likely to favor them, they will also move to another party. The same way Obi left PDP last minute to move to another party. It's going to play out again. And I can tell you, if Atiku gets the ticket, he will not pick Obi. The reason why he will not pick Obi is he would rather pick somebody like a spent force, like Amici, that will be pliant to his instructions. Not an Obi that is intelligent, that can square up with him and begin to rub shoulder with him. Because it will be difficult for him to tame Obi.
I don't think Obi would even get the support of obedience if he decides to apply.
So it's a whole lot of landmines along the path of this ADC thing. So the earlier they know that they have to, the way they left SDP, they have to leave ADC and bath in a party that they can. Of course, look at what is happening now. I told people here last week that the remnants of ADC will be propped up by APC to start litigation with ADC. Has it not started?
Of course.
And that thing will be adjourned and adjourned and adjourned till towards the end of the year, next year, when the election will be about 3 months away. And then there will be judgment that candidates on that party that is not endorsed by so group that have been in the party have been declared null and void, the way Sanfara played out. So anybody in ADC should begin to have plan B, because a lot of things would unfold as we move along. Before the end of this year, you'll see the real northern politics playing out in ADC.
Okay. This story just jumped out at me, and I'd like us to react to it.
You should have dodged it.
Pardon? I should have dodged it. Because we've been talking about, I mean, when the president bought private jets, we talked and talked and talked. President bought an Escalade, we talked. Bought a yacht, we talked. When governors do it, I think we should do the same thing. We should talk. maybe they will, retrace their steps. Well, the governor of your state,
yes,
Seyi Makinde, just set aside about 63.4 billion naira to renovate government house.
6.37.
And then 7.7 billion naira for security aircraft. And I'm asking, well, it doesn't even stop there. Okay, let me just read, it says, the government recently awarded the overhaul of the Oyo government house for 63.4 billion naira, procurement of 2 security surveillance aircraft for 7.7 billion naira, and 535 million naira for the Light Up Oyo Solar Project, apart from a monthly allocation of 190 million naira for its maintenance. Now, the government also approved
maintenance of the aircraft
of the Light Up project.
Okay, because we need to clear that.
The government also approved 83 billion naira additional funding for the completion of 72 kilometer of 111 kilometer Rashidi Ladoja Circular Road project. Other approvals at Tuesday's State Executive Council meeting included 36 million or billion, 36 million, 36 billion, 346 figures just get me confused. I don't want to sound like worry. Sorry. But the figures just keep. But basically, and he's almost done. He's almost done his leaving office. Is this not? Can we call this stealing?
No.
Humongous amount to renovate government house.
No.
Light Up Ibadan project.
You see,
security aircraft.
At the risk of defending some of these spendings.
Or is this geared towards elections? It's hard. It's hard not to think, not to think in that direction.
The optics shows that there is a kind of arrangement to loot. Mm-hmm. But the truth about it is the government house project. Anybody that had been to the government house is not one building. I can tell you, there are over 100 buildings in what they call the government house. There are chalets, presidential lodge, banquet hall, and all that. I've been there, and I know that place can inhabit close to 700 to 800 people. Different chalets, and then there's a road network around that area. So with the present cost of materials now, it may be a little bit on the high side, but it's not as if there won't be job done towards ensuring that money was spent On the issue of aircraft, I don't want to believe it's an aircraft because aircraft is very expensive.
Security.
It's a security aircraft or something. Security surveillance aircraft. That's what it is. Security surveillance aircraft.
It could be an helicopter.
Helicopter.
Yeah, but
because that money cannot buy
exactly
one.
Security surveillance. What is it? Is it because of the influx of
Lukarawa, bandit and all that?
Yes, is that what this is?
You see, it's very ambitious. It's very ambitious. But the critical thing here is that there is no other place that is as porous to the invasion of these bandits as Oyo State. Okay. Because Iseyin, Igbeti, Igboho axis is just like walking from the north to Oyo.
What is
so naturally,
Amotekun. What are they doing?
Naturally, it is the easiest inroad.
Yeah.
For instance, if these guys wants to come to Ondo State, they will have to pass through Kogi. But once they get to Niger, the next port of call is Oyo. So, if he has reasons for buying helicopters to do surveillance, I don't think the money is there for him. He has
so
money.
He should use it.
He should use it.
He must use it.
He should use it.
All right. I would say that you said so.
Well, I'm not campaigning. Of course, he doesn't need anybody's campaign now. He's running through his last term in office. But the truth about it is that no amount of money is too much to deploy into security. That's the truth.
And that's why this thing, state policing won't take care of it.
No, there's no state police.
I mean, if we had to.
Yes. For me, it's even like too late in the day for us to have state police in Nigeria. Look at the way I can't remember this particular state, that I think it was Plateau, that the locals, with the support of DSS and the military, they went all out and routed and killed about 70 of these bandits. And at that moment, these guys, the Air Force was let loose on the bandits. Now, Toji is now asking for amnesty and whatever it is. So, if we are deploying money, security is not something you spend just little. That's why security in America, the CIA has a different budget that nobody scrutinizes. It's elastic. You understand? And they borrowed that from America when they introduced security votes in Nigeria. But unfortunately, security vote is a conduit in Nigeria, unlike in America. You understand? So, for me, 7.7 billion to be spent on security is not a joke, because how much value can you place on the life of a human being that will be lost, and a multiple number during these attacks? So if that is the way to go to ensure that there is security and the borders that borders the north is secured.
I have a problem with the fact that this is coming at this time when his tenure is almost, he's coasting home now.
Until the last day, he's still the chief executive.
Of course he is, but he's not running for election again.
He still has about 2 years.
What is that? Okay.
So if he allows the place to be secured,
the optics.
Nobody will hold anybody.
Don't you think that this jumbo budgeting is making that sector kind of lucrative in such a way that even the security sector very lucrative, in such that even the men, the police and the military that have been assigned, not even equipped, that have been assigned to protect these people and been funded, will not want it to end.
It has always been like that. You understand? That is the Nigerian factor.
It is actually.
You understand? Yeah. It's a Nigerian factor. Today, if you tell a general to choose between Sambisa and Port Harcourt, no matter, despite the risk, he will prefer Sambisa for obvious reasons. You understand? No doubt about that. But the point is, we can't just leave security just like that. It's just for us to have clear mandate to monitor and ensure that money gets to the appropriate quarters.
All right, so let's look at a few more headlines. From the Vanguard, FG secures $747 million loan for Lagos Calabar Highway. FG targeting food sufficiency through PPP. Information Minister. No one single-handedly made Buhari president in 2015, says ex-SGF boss Mustafa. Construction of Eastern Rail Line corridor begins. And then we also have governors renew push to delist Labour from exclusive list. Lagos LG polls. Police restrict vehicular movement for 12 hours on Saturday. That's from 3 a.m. to 3 p.m., just so you know. Let's get your thoughts on, quickly. Governors renew push to delist Labour from exclusive lists. That's a sector I know you covered. What's your reaction?
You see, to be frank with you, is the way to go. Okay. It shouldn't be on the exclusive list because the power to pay differs from one state to the other. It has happened in the past during Western region, Eastern region, Northern region. Western region was paying higher than the federal government. And what we have today, Lagos State is even paying higher than the federal government. Federal government is paying 70,000. Lagos State is paying, I think, 85.
80 something, yes.
85. And I think Edo is also paying like 80. Some other states are paying 75 and all that. So why are they not resisting that?
Why
is Labour not resisting the ones that are paying over and above federal government? Technically, they have even removed it from the exclusive list by allowing it to happen because it benefits them. Sometimes, if you are a good leader, even when something benefits you, you resist it because of the people that will have the effect of the multiplier effect.
Yeah.
But when you now close your mouth just because you are enjoying, and then when they come back at you, you want to cry, there will be evidence against you that why didn't you cry when Lagos State was raising it to 85? That look, don't spoil my people, bring it back to 70.
All right, then. This would be a good place to anchor the conversation. Big thanks to you, AZK, Where's the Jesus? Thank you very much for your time and your contribution on the program. Big thanks also to Dele Fanimo, who is a seasoned reporter and a VOP analyst, public affairs commentator. Good to have you.
Always my pleasure.
And it's expected that we'll see more of you in the course of the day. Right, on other shows.
12 noon, I'll be here, and the African News House also be here.
All right, then. So you have been promised robust analysis on the station as the day progresses. But that's it on Newspaper Review. I am Moses Humphrey. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.